Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and I'm going to say Happy New Year because it's New Year's Eve. And this is going to be the last review of 2024, and it's going to be this, the Studio Series Bumblebee movie version of Skywarp. He'll be our focus in the latest GotBot True Review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course you can hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Skywarp. It is that weird Tetrajet mode that was used for Thundercracker, for Thrust, for Starscream. But this year, this version of the mold appeared on the fan-voted worst list for the year, which sort of baffled me a little bit, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Does it actually belong on there? I don't think so, and I'm about to explain why when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And courtesy once again of Christmas and Starscream Wife, we're taking a look today at the Studio Series Bumblebee movie version of Skywarp. And it's funny, Skywarp is always an exclusive, but this one wasn't. This one just came out at mainline. It also made it onto the, get this, worst list of 2024. I don't understand why. I actually love this mold. Yeah, I get it. It's a very weird Seeker mold. I also get that it's a very odd Tetrajet mold and seems kind of hodgepodgey. But in the context of the Bumblebee movie, what they managed to pull off here, based on that design, is really astonishing. I looked at the Thrust version of this way back in episode 904 in September of 2021. And I ended up using that as a version of the Liege Maximo. I customized it into a version of the Liege Maximo. But I really love the mold. I find it to be really phenomenal. The transformation and whatnot is really no different here. You know, the Thrust is a cone head, but it's really just a piece behind the head. Which means I don't need to show the transformation going from robot back to this plane mode, because I've already shown that. Like I said in episode 904, the transformation's the same. So this will be an opportunity for me to do it now from Tetrajet mode back to robot mode. But before we get to him, let's look at the packaging first. And here we have Skywarp on the front with his grays and his purples. A lot of people, I think that voted for this guy said, yeah, but there's way too much gray on him. And I think that's why he ended up on the worst list. There's not enough black. He's supposed to have more black and whatnot. And I get that, but again, if you look at the film, a lot of what they do in gray here, I'm pretty sure was supposed to be like metallic-y silver in the film. It's hard to tell because it's really dark, but he does not seem to have much black in the film. He seems to be like purple and silver, which I guess they mimic here with purple and gray. Over here, a close-up of that, you know, weird Seeker face, but again, it's the weird Seeker face that they kind of had in the film. Over here you can see a close-up on his body, and of course on the back you see the product in both alt mode and robot mode, and of course you see the little backdrop piece. Speaking of which, there is his Cybertronian backdrop. I mean, again, and I've said this before, these are neat, but I don't know how practical they are for most people. It'd be nice to display, you know, each character you have with one of these. Either you would need, I think, a lot of space, or you have to be a very, like, closed-in collector of just Studio Series, you know what I mean? Or you need to have, like I said, a lot of space, one of the two. We have a big sheet of instructions, they're pretty good. And here we have Skywarp. I call this his landed mode. I think that this is also the way that they flew, but personally, my thought has always been, when they fly, I feel like the wings would kind of come up like this, and they would fly like this way. At least that looks a little more plane-esque. And then when they land, I always kind of imagine that these go down in lieu of a landing gear, since down here we have the blaster. And we'll talk about the accessories in just a little bit. I will note that just like with other versions of this mold, we have two of these. They really stay on the wings. I surmise that this is a null ray. Same over here. I also surmise it's a null ray. I had them up under the wings using the rectangular peg in a rectangular slot. But if you want to use the circular peg, you can certainly do that as well. Then down here, this one that's really meant to go in his hand, let me pick this up, that's really meant to go in his hand is over two nubs on the elbow, as well as I'm going to say a square block from these two sections that meet here in the middle. You can take that off, right? Like, there's the square block and the two little nubs are back here on the elbows. And I'm just going to like let this guy fall. We've seen this before in, you know, gunmetal gray, and now a gray here, and I think it's green for thrust. I assume it's probably blue or something for Starscream, and Thundercracker, I'm not really sure, but you get the idea, I'm sure. I actually love this guy, love the transformation, love a lot of things about him. And as we go through here, I'm really hoping I remember all of this because it's been a while, so bear with me. As a texture jet goes, I mean, yeah, it's weird, but I can buy it. I can get into it. I think I kind of like it. I certainly think that it's an ominous presence for a texture jet. So, cool. I guess we'll do scores after we do the transformation stuff. Let's begin by opening up these little flaps up here on the back and split these legs here. There we go. Just like that. We're going to also split, bring up and split this section out. Okay, yeah, I think we're cooking with oil now. I hope we're cooking with oil now. We're going to bring the arms here out, and we should be able to rotate them back. So I should be able to sort of split them there. Can I get this around here? I want to make sure I'm doing this right. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% sure I am. Yeah. So that comes back around and snaps in there, and then we should be able to bring out a hand. Cool. And even rotate that arm around. Cool. We're going to do the same over here. We're going to bring that arm out, snap it in, bring this down, turn it around, bring out a hand. Awesome. We got that much done. I'm going to bring these together again too, by the way. I guess we'll bring this. I don't like that the nose cone, by the way, is these like soft rubbery plastic. I wish that wasn't the case. I don't like that they did that there. Then we should be able to. This right? I want to make sure I'm doing this right. It's hard to tell. I think I'm doing this right. I think this comes down as the head comes up around, and I should be able to get the nose cone section down under. Hold on. What am I doing wrong here? So I didn't really do something wrong, I just didn't have something done completely. The nose cone needs to fold all the way down under these two nub pieces. Then you fold the whole thing in. Then you bring the head down. And then you have these nubs back here. Now I like having these back here, even though they say to put it up in the back. I'm not going to quite do that. I'm going to leave that there. Here's the point of the nose cone. This is why I wish that this wasn't soft rubbery, because it likes to bend. Okay. Now we can fold these, and it says to fold these and leave them down, but extend out the wing like this. That's up to you. A lot of people have been really griping about it, saying, why are his wings left down? If you don't want to leave them down, then turn them up. It's simple as that. Open them up if you want. Leave them down this way and leave them opened out. I'm going to show a few configurations of that when we get to robot mode. But for now, I'm going to do the stock. Just like that. I'm also going to bring down an arm here and bring down an arm Here, that's the upper body done. Now all we got to do is deal with the rest of the lower body. And to do that, we should be able to, I hope, get these out of the thighs, flip this up, and flip this up. We should be able to straighten up a foot and straighten up a foot. And now we're going to turn the legs this way. For now, we're going to make sure that we're untabbed from the leg right here and bring this down. And that all should be in. And then we should be able to fold this up and I believe fold the whole thing into the leg and this on the inside of the leg and straighten that leg up. Cool. Push all that in thusly. Then over here, same sort of thing. We should be able to bring all of this down, make sure that's folded in, bring all of this nice and down. And the same thing with the foot out now. We should be able to fold all of this in the leg as well, so that boom, in the end here we have Skywarp. Oh, sorry, we do have to extend these for some reason. I don't know why, but they do go extended. But boom, here we have Skywarp in his robot mode. I will put his couple of accessories on him, namely the black null ray pieces up right here into these peg holes, and I'll put the other blaster in his hand and stand him up to look like this. And boy, oh boy, what a robot mode this is. It's big, it's honkin' hefty. I love the transformation. I know that I fumbled there for a moment over completely collapsing the nose cone. But you know what? I didn't look at the instructions. I didn't even go back and watch the thrust review. I did nothing. I just took this in hand and said, hey, I'm going to try and do it from memory. And I was able to get it into the plane mode from memory and able to get it back from memory because the transformation, while involved, is just that good. Once you have done it once, it becomes real intuitive. I love how the body unfurls itself, very old school, through the torso, I suppose. I love that the shin flips out and completely unfurls to become the side of the plane. And while a lot of people have griped about the positioning of the wings, I love that the wings can be anything you want them to be. If you want, for example, you can leave the wing down all the way like this. You can bring it out to the side like this. You can bring it up or you can bring it down. You can flip it out and leave it just like this if you want. You can turn it around this way if you prefer. Personally, for Skywarp, I like doing this and this. Personally, I like them looking like this. I feel like that looks very Seeker-esque. Now, some people, of course, have said, hey, there's way too much gray on here. And I presume that those people are comparing him to, say, the Earthrise here, right? The Earthrise is very much more traditional. Granted, the purple here is even darker than it should because it should be more of a lavender or a lilac. Comparing these two as an overall package, they're both Voyagers. The Bumblebee one is objectively a better Voyager in terms of transformation because it's a more involved transformation than the Earthrise. And in terms of just overall heft, this is a 160 gram Voyager. This is 135. It's acceptable, but it's certainly smaller. That's objectively. Subjectively, I love this guy in terms of the look and stuff, right? Subjectively, my favorite's the Siege. But objectively, this is a great package. Now, let's talk about the coloration. He already has a 10 for transformation. The coloration, based on the Bumblebee movie, I think is pretty good. I do wish that some of the gray on this guy was picked out more in silver. And in the animation for the film, I would venture to say that the way the wings are is more like this than it is anything else. That's more animation accurate. Granted, the gray out here should be purple. Other than that, I think it's pretty good. I'm going to give it a solid 8.5. So a 10 and an 8.5, 9.25. Let's do the articulation for the guy. We have a head that goes left, right, can look up and kind of down. We do have a waist on the guy. Granted, this piece you sort of have to pick off a little bit, but you do get, and it's not a full waist, but it's a waist wiggle. It'll certainly get you some movement. The T-posing ability, excellent, excellent, excellent. The shoulders can go all the way around. We have elbow well over 90 degrees, even with the blaster in his hand. We have bicep swivel. Do we have a wrist rotation on this guy? We do not have a wrist rotation, so that's a bummer. We do have legs that can go all the way forward. We do have legs that, well, they can go back as far as the wing allows, I guess. If you get it past it, you can go pretty much all the way back. We have full T-pose ability. We have knee to 90 degrees. We have thigh swivel, and really no hollowness in this guy. And we have super deep ankle. So we're missing a wrist. He was a 9 point, I just pulled that out. He was a 9.25 with the articulation being what it is. I think that that's a 9.5. Honestly, the only thing missing is a wrist. Everything else you could want is really there. You know what? Let's even say it'd be nice if the waist was a little more free-flowing. Let's give it a 9.25 for the articulation. His overall score was a 9.25. This mold, whether for this guy or Thundercracker or Starscream or Thrust, is really a 9 to a 9.25. It's an excellent, excellent Bumblebee movie seeker mold. It's a really engaging Tetrajet mold. I love the Siege. I think it's my favorite of the modern Seekers. Most people love this Earthrise. For most folks, this is their favorite. Despite the numerous inaccuracies in color, I would say that the chest is too deep. You know, he shouldn't have hollow toes. The wings on the side should fold into the leg. Like, I get the appeal, but I also understand the imperfections. With Siege, I get the close to perfect. But I also understand how some people wish that the Tetrajet had more pointed stuff. This was completely its own thing. And as a Skywarp, maybe it's not the best Skywarp, but as a Bumblebee movie Skywarp, I think it really knocks it out of the park. For what it is, it's an absolute success. I have seen some people who have custom painted this guy in more traditional colors, and you know what? It looks even better. If you're brave enough to paint this guy in more traditional colors, I think you're going to have one amazing Skywarp. Overall score as is 9.25. I honestly believe that if you colored him in more traditional colors, he'd be about a 9.9. Make of that what you will, but he's fun, functional, and fantastic. And here we are, and here he is. So, first things first. I think that this mold is spectacular. Yes, it gives us a bit of a weird plane, naturally. It's a Cybertronian Tetrajet, and certainly it doesn't look like a G1 Tetrajet. It is a Bumblebee movie Tetrajet. We all know that the Bumblebee movie took the characters that we know and love, and while it tweaked them to be live action, they were certainly evocative of what we would remember from our love way back in G1. The scene wasn't long, it only lasted about 5 minutes or so, and there was a lot of bots shown in quick succession there. Studio Series has done an admirable job of trying to capture those bots. The first thing I want to note with this guy is his transformation. Love the transformation of this mold. I love how the entire body unfurls. I love how the legs not only unfurl but extend to become the sides of the plane. I love that the wings have so much movement. Yes, whenever we see pictures, the wings are, you know, down in what I call a landing stance, but they can certainly move up to be in what I call flight stance. In terms of their positioning here, I understand that officially they are transformed and left down here, and a lot of people have griped about that. Turn them if you don't like that. Open the wing up. Like I said, there's a ton of options that you can do to make the wings look more like you would like them to look. So the gripes about the wings, I don't buy. The gripes about the alt mode, sorry, I don't buy. That doesn't fly with me. The transformation is brilliant, giving us a robot mode that very much looks like the film, and a, I guess an alt mode that very much matches the film and the film aesthetic, while doing it very smoothly. Excellent transformation. Then we have the articulation. I mean, yeah, I guess a wrist would be nice, but outside of that, literally everything is here with a great range of motion. The dynamic poses that you could put this guy in are almost endless, and for that, I really can't fault it. Then we get to what I think a lot of people have the biggest gripe with, his coloration. Admittedly, there's more gray here where there should be black, and admittedly, there's more light gray where there should probably be silver based on the film's animation. Granted, that was dark. But I can say this, in looking at a number of scenes from the film and like screen captures and whatnot, the traditional black with the white and purple detailing that we know from G1 really would not have shown up in the darkness that was Cybertron. I think that they did the coloration that they did so that you could see this guy. I understand that some people might have the gripe that it didn't translate well into the Studio Series release because there's not enough black on him. But you know what? When I see a purple Seeker, I'm gonna think Skywarp anyway. Or maybe Hotlink. I don't think I showed it in the review, though I meant to. If you don't want the blaster left in his hand, you can always still put it on the back. It's attached via the same sort of attachment, or exact same attachment, that it uses in plane mode, where those two pieces come together to make that square. It's still that square, except now it's on his back. You know, even the side of it, like a great silhouette. It's deep, but it's not too deep. It feels the right size, and it's a hefty 160 grams for a Voyager. Excellent articulation, excellent transformation, a great, though stylized, Tetrajet mode, and honestly, a really sleek yet intimidating looking robot mode. I get the gripe with the color, but I really don't think it was enough to land this guy on the worst list. Maybe he's not top 10 best, but man, oh man, is he fun. If you do not have some version of this mold, be it Starscream or Thundercracker or this guy or Thrust, do yourself a favor. Get it, because I think that you're going to be wildly surprised by just how good he actually is in hand. Might not be the best representation of the character of Skywarp, but as a transformer and value for money, he is an absolute success. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And please don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time in the new year that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.